What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I've been reading a few things about the Texas floods that I thought that I would kind of share with everybody. There's been a lot of what they call conspiracy theories. Of course, everybody calls it conspiracy theories when it makes sense, but it doesn't fit a narrative. So I read an article recently that was talking about cloud seeding in Texas. So apparently, a CEO of a company called Rainmaker has said that there was a cloud seeding operation in the area around where the flash floods in Texas happened 2 days before the floods came. Now they're saying that it has absolutely nothing to do with the floods, but you can kind of speculate on that a little bit because you can say it doesn't have anything to do with it, but at the same time, when you look up anything about long-term effects of cloud seeding or any real detailed information about cloud seeding, it's just not there. Nobody has any data on long-term effects or even really short-term effects, and when you start, putting silver iodide or, other chemicals up into clouds to make them rain sooner than they naturally would, that can become a recipe for disaster. So I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it isn't. All I'm saying is, there's some information that we can look at, and we should kind of take what they say with a grain of salt and just look into it ourselves. So I'm going to share some of that with you. So we're going to take a look at this website right here. This is on zenodo.org. This is data records from cloud seeding activities in the United States from 2000 to 2025. It's got a PDF file that can be downloaded. What we're looking at right here is this file in particular, 2025 summer in Texas. So let's open that up real quick and we'll have a look at that. So this is the file here. Year 2025, this is when they're doing the operation. They're doing it during the summer. It's in Texas. They're using water droplets, apparently, airborne delivery. This is the curious thing. So increased rainfall, obviously. They're doing it along the Gulf of Mexico coastline. So how far inland that is from the coastline, it doesn't say. But they started January 24th, 2025, and it's going to be going on apparently through the winter, December 27th, 2025. So, let's look at this county map here. So basically, all along the southeast coastline here is where they're going to be doing it. Now, Kerr County is up here, and you've got Kendall County next to it. That's where the majority of the flooding was at, especially in Kerr County. You can look at a map of recent rain enhancement, and these are all the different projects from, different companies in different parts of Texas. We have Kerr County right here, kind of slap in the middle of both of these. Okay, and these are cloud seeding operations, weather modification operations that have been going on since, I believe, 2022. So nobody really has any information on long-term effects or even really kind of short-term effects either. Like, they figured out how to shoot chemicals up into the clouds and make them release rain quicker than they normally would, but they don't know what the compounding effects are going to be of those chemicals. How long are they going to stay there? What kind of behavior they might, exhibit on these clouds or on, rain. They just don't know. So this is from the GAO. They did a study on this, and this is what they had to say. GAO identified challenges to the use and development of cloud seeding, including reliable information is lacking. I'll let that. Reliable information is lacking on the conduct of optimal effective cloud seeding and its benefits and effects. So basically, they are saying that there's not enough information to know what these cloud seeding operations are really going to do in the long run. All right, and they're saying it for a return on investment, and if operations will be less effective or more effective. But the fact of the matter is that they're admitting that there is no reliable information. Or reliable information is lacking on the conduct of optimal effective cloud seeding and its benefits and effects. So that tells you they don't really have any long-term or even really any short-term data. So this came up in Article 2. Did cloud seeding cause Texas floods? Misinformation spreads as severe flooding strikes U.S. I mean, maybe it's misinformation. Maybe it's people just putting two and two together. So we'll go down here. And it says a cloud seeding project took place in Pleasanton, about 150 miles southeast of Kerr County on July 2nd, according to reports from Rainmaker. That's the company that did the cloud seeding operation, that's doing the cloud seeding operation up and down the coast. One of the weather modification companies in the U.S., but experts emphasize that the cloud seeding did not trigger the severe weather and sought to bring modest rainfall to the area, which has experienced persistent drought conditions for several years. So another thing that you have to look at is when a place experiences severe drought, the soil hardens up. It dries out, it hardens up, and it doesn't allow water to drain through. It doesn't drain as well, which is a big condition that leads to flooding. If water doesn't drain into the soil, it's just going to stay on top of the soil, and then it's going to run into rivers and lakes, and then they're going to swell, and next thing you know, you've got a flood. So with that in mind, and the fact that this cloud seeding operation is taking place along the Gulf Coast, I've kind of made like a little bit of a prediction based on kind of topography. So when we're looking at the Gulf Coast here, I don't imagine they're going straight up the coast, like this. I imagine they're probably just coming across, which Kerr County is kind of in here a little bit. So they may have gotten some of that rain. Depends on where they're, exactly what location. Are they up here in the mountains shooting it into the clouds and expecting it, it's not going to start raining till it gets over here near the coast? But if they're doing it up and down the coast, as you can see from this topography, there's a lot of very high elevation areas spanning all the way around here. And then these higher elevation areas around here. And look at all these basins that run in to Houston, Beaumont area. It's a good possibility that anywhere from Victoria, Houston to Beaumont could be the next flooding area. Just some area in there, or any of these towns in these basins here, in these draws, So, I'm not saying freak out or anything and, head for the hills, but if you live in these areas, I would just be wary, especially if you have large, lakes and rivers like this one here, Lake Livingston, that if they're doing cloud seeding operation and it rains just a little bit more than they anticipated, that could swell all these rivers down here, and you've got Houston area right down here. Luckily, Houston is next to the coast. It's next to a bay, so that water should just run off, you hope. But for some of these other areas that may be a little lower lying in these draws, they may not be so lucky. If you live in something that's kind of like a bowl, you may not be as lucky when those rivers and those lakes swell. So it's just something to take into mind. Like I said, we want to just have any information that's available to us and kind of make our own decisions based on that. So that's all I'm doing. I'm giving you this information that I found, and you can kind of make your own decision based on that. But if you are in one of these states that does cloud seeding, especially during the summer, especially in areas that are known for heavy droughts, I would just kind of be wary and just check your topography. Check out where you are and what kind of bodies of water you have, if you have large rivers or large lakes, and just make your plan, because that's basically all we can do. Anyway, that's all I got for today. So as usual, stay safe, keep on a crack-a-lackin'.